Good evening. This is Ken Long from Tortoise Capital with the daily debriefing for June 16th, 2016. Just for context, we're in a bull normal condition. We had a nice long run, 30 or 40 days of sideways chop, a pocket resumption to test the swing high once more. We suggested up here near the top that a high probability of coming back to test the Bollinger Band mean, which it has done over the last 7 days. We've had some sharp sell-offs here to go from Z2, edge of the floodplain, all the way back through the dragon down to the Bollinger Band mean where it held. Had a gap up and then sold off to close weekly, then a large gap down, and then a large range day recovery to end right at the Bollinger Band mean. So today was actually a great day for the morning hook, gap down, and then powered north just to get back to fair value with the Bollinger Band mean. Looking into tomorrow, we're still almost 2% off the swing high, but we're 10% off the swing low. Jaws of PPO are down. We're just coming out of oversold conditions. We're still about 4% above the 200-day moving average. The slope of the 30-period regression channel is up, but we were testing the bottom of that today. Slope of the 10-period regression channel is down, and we're right at the back of the midpoint. Upper target remains 213, all-time swing high, or all-time high in the S&P, and then strong support down here around Z-2 at 204, and that swing low. Let's take a look at the trades for today. First trade for me this morning was actually late, about 11, and a morning hook in XIV. So here's the gap down, here was the close, here was the open, here's the gap down sell-off, sideways quiet channel, emerging from SQC here with, look like 1, 2, 3 slightly higher lows, and now the 10 and the 30 all crossing the RL270 and leaving the river. This looked like an Z3P breakout to me, so buy it here, stop at Z2. I'm looking to get back to the open, and if it gets above the open is where I would look to add a second position just north of 25. So our entry is down here about 24.45-ish with about a 30 or 40 cent stop here. A second entry we took was in a not later than entry here, the emerging dragon in XME. So here's the unambiguous move down. This is actually an owl entry right here. I was stalking other things at the time, so I observed but did not trade. So we get a swing low, a higher low. This is a pocket entry at 23.26 with about a 15-cent initial stop at 23.14. There's the RL270. There's the VWAP. This was yesterday's close here. This is today's open. So I'm targeting here. If I get above that, that's where I'd be looking at adding a second position. Here's an owl from Yasik for almost 0.6 R. There's the unambiguous move down, the RLCO. The RL10 crosses the river. The dragon is slowly ticking up. It's taken this long really for the 30 to roll over and to hook up, so he takes this entry here. He's targeting the gap opening, the VWAP. Started to stall, strong resistance. He cashes with a strike exit for 0.6. Outstanding. Take what it'll give. This was a trade frame from Teddy. He was looking, excuse me, let me clean it up. He was looking for some info. What should we do when you have a market that is dramatically down and then is rolling back up? He saw this as a P2 failure. It failed to follow through, and he wants to know, can he get short inside here? My answer to that is yes. While this is going on, here's an owl entry and this is where the exit should be taken. And this is where you can get short in the pocket trade, which is a continuation of the primary trend. Everything is still down. This is a RLXD entry, so you can be short from 94.70 and cover down here when price comes back into the dragon at 94.40 for 30 points. And then this is an owl entry, failure to fail. That's the second entry, and then you should be deeply in the money here, and you've got almost 70 pips on this entry and 20 pips on this one. So that's how you do that one. This was the result of that XIV trade. There was the open. Here was yesterday's close. This was that long SQC. That was the entry as it crossed the VWAP and leaving the river. And I'm just taking the Z2 and I stay with it all the way over here until the RL270 starts to stretch up. At this point, as it comes out of the river, I'm going to buy a second position. Let's sort of tighten this up, and now I'm using the Z-1 as the stop. And then right here, I felt like we were leaving lunch, and this was starting to stall. And I'd gotten most of the move back to the close. That felt like a good place to cash. So this went from 24.80 to 25.30. And this one was from 24.40 to 25.20, so 80 cents on a 15-cent initial stop. You know, you're talking 5R, 6R, somewhere around there. This went to 26.60 today, by the way. It broke through this. So that's 6R on half the move. Here's the XME move. This was that pocket entry, and I'm using the Z2. When the Z3 line comes above the trailing stop, I pick up the Z3. At this point, as it starts to expand, I just extend this, and now I'm using the Z1 cash. Here's an owl entry using the Z2 initially. When the Z3 line crosses that, it's now moved an SD in my favor, is what that means. I pick up the Z3 all the way up and just cash this one. Could this been a little tighter up in here? Sure, but I was interested in the wider stops today and fewer trades. This was a win series in here. This was a low, a higher low, and taking out this hump. So this is a pocket, cashing the RLXD, and again using the Z2 line. When the Z3 line catches up, I just follow that up, and then as this starts to fail, this was a sloppy exit. I could have done better with a Z3 excursion with 2 dragon horns. Maybe I should be up in here, but we'll take that one. And then it's an owl re-entry, long, and taking the Z2, come over to Z3, follow that up, and we make some bank on that one. So now as we look at the daily report for the at the close of business on the 16th, looking at the 17th, tons of channeling and overreactions. Many auto framers, the target-rich environment. The bears are in charge here, although volatility is still very quiet. Actually dropped back into bullish quiet today, oddly enough. You can see the risk Z is reflecting that volatile condition here, so I'm not holding things overnight, but I'm ready for larger than average moves because of the increased volatility. Lots of good auto framers to choose from here among the Dow Tactical. Lots of good fraud quality numbers. The RSI 2s, you got half a dozen here in the single digits. So I would, if you're looking for momentum, Microsoft, DuPont, Merck. If you're looking for the 551Ws, you get these in here. Morgan is pretty good. It's channeling an overreaction of 551W, 3.4 to 1, and has a RSI value of 2. So JP Morgan, very interesting. By the same token, Microsoft is a 551W, tests out a 3.1 on the auto framer, 3.5 frog quality number, RSI 2 value of 1. So I like that. And it was a percent winner today. So that has some possibilities. In the ETFs, just about everything frames out really well. Tons of RSI 2 values. Brazil was a percent winner today, as was XIV. Had a really nice intraday move. Again, auto framer showing a target-rich environment. Lots of good numbers here on the regression line fractals for Microsoft. There is a nice one at 4.5 to 1. Reward to risk in that methodology. And some good squeezes to choose from as well. The big recovery day today. Putting the test to this little gain, this higher low in the slope of the RL30. We're testing that right now to see what we're going to do. Can it find support at what was once resistance and push on to a new extension above the 200-day moving average? So I don't know, but I'm going to be postured for larger than normal intraday moves between the news and the market. Finding support at the Bollinger Band mean now in the middle of the river. The 10 is at minus 1Z. The 30 has rolled over. The 90 has rolled over. So this is a posture for short-term, one-day excursions of large range in either direction. This is a day trader's paradise in this critical state. And that's everything I want to cover. Keep your risk measured and your powder dry.